What's good? It's your boy Fanon. We got a big heavyweight fight coming up tonight. We got a big heavyweight fight coming up in 2 weeks between Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua. We've got a second tier fight tonight between Dillian White and Lucas Brown. Will be televised on HBO. Definitely looking forward to it. But what I'm going to talk about in this video is something that the WBA and the WBA and the IBF champion Anthony Joshua said that I thought was kind of enlightening. And while at first the comment, just read on his face could be, it could be used to think and, to make an argument that Anthony Joshua is afraid of certain fighters. But like the great Sugar Ray Leonard said, that he was never scared of a fighter, but he was definitely scared of losing. And I think also that Floyd Mayweather Jr. also said that he was scared to death of losing. And what would happen in the world of boxing if you lose? Will you ever get a chance to come back from that loss? And that's a reasonable question. However, what I think is that, the behavior of Anthony Joshua and the approach that he's taken to the fights with these other heavyweights is adding to the problem that's creating his fear. And I'll go into that in a second. I'll let you know what he said. And also I'll talk about the fact that Tyson Fury is now supposed to have his first date for his first fight on an undercard coming up in June. Now, before I go into that conversation, I want to say, please, definitely going to do a live stream later today. I think when I thought about doing one earlier today, 78 Sports TV was on one. So I did another video instead of going on to the live stream. And by the way, I did take that video down because a subscriber had corrected a factual error that I had made in that previous video. I won't mention what that is, but I took the video down because there was a major oversight that I made. And so I thought that was worth taking the video down. And I apologize for having mixed up the names of a couple people that pretty much changed the tone and the conclusions that I made in that video. And, whenever you make a mistake in life, fess up, move on, and let's keep it cracking. So that's for people that wonder why I took that earlier video down. It's because I had made a blatant factual error in that video. And, so I didn't want that up, for any amount of time, to mislead people or, create a situation where people thought that something happened that didn't happen. Or at least it did happen, but it was done by somebody other than the person that I had attributed it to because of a name mix up and an oversight that I made. So anyway, that said, please subscribe to hit the bell icon for the live stream that I'm going to do, so that you can get notified of the live stream that I'm going to do later today. I'm trying to make sure that all of the topics for the videos that we cover get discussed in the live stream, because it's one thing to respond on comment sections, but it's another thing to have, real-time conversations, real-time interactions on the channel with fans. We got a lot of very mature and knowledgeable boxing fans that regularly attend the live stream. So I think, that it would be something that you might really enjoy. Now that said, let me get into what Anthony Joshua said, and then also the details on Tyson Fury's return, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Anthony Joshua, and this comes from FoxSportsAsia.com. I'm afraid of losing. Anthony Joshua has revealed that the thought of losing makes him nervous, but also concedes that a defeat should not define a fighter as he prepares to fight Joseph Parker. Joshua can unify his WBA Super and IBF belts with Parker's WBO equivalent on March 31st as he looks to improve his perfect unbeaten record to 20-0. AJ admits that he is fully focused on the challenge of Parker and is open to what a potential loss could mean for his career. In boxing, losing is the one thing that you're nervous about, Joshua revealed to Sky Sports. Nobody wants their O to go. You don't plan on getting beat. In every other sport, you can lose and bounce back. When asked, is that losing what scares you? The heavyweight champion answered, yeah, because it's the sport we're in. Roger Federer is still known as a great, but we don't know the 10 people who have beaten him before. For boxing, that loss stays on your record for eternity. Losing doesn't define you. It's how you move forward that defines you. You have to know where you're going. When you look at the heavyweight boxing, when you look at Klitschko, he wanted to be a 3-time heavyweight champ of the world. He lost. He came back. If I lost, I'd dust myself off and go again. It would show people's mindset if they discredited everything I had done up to that point because of one defeat. Joshua is confident that he is still just beginning a long tenure as a world champion, and the 28-year-old wants to fight on for at least another decade. I'm fully focused on Parker, Joshua continues, who said afterwards, I could fight on for another 10 years. I'm 28. Klitschko retired at 40 years old, and Mayweather is 41, and people say he could still fight on. Who is to say I couldn't fight until I'm 38? Heavyweight history shows athletes can go a lot longer provided they take care of their body. I don't want to have to leave boxing, but I do it because I love it. I don't want it for the fame. I want it because I enjoy it, and I still want to be at a high level. Okay? Now, the other article talks about Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's comeback is confirmed. Comeback date and venue for a return set. Tyson Fury has agreed to a deal with Frank Warren to fight on BT Sports and Box Nation, with June a proposed date for his comeback. Fury has not fought since 2015 when he beat Vladimir Klitschko to take the heavyweight title. He's expected to fight in Manchester this summer to end his long spell out. And the deal is a huge one for Frank Warren and his team, with ESPN reporting Fury's comeback could take place on June 9th on the undercard of Terry Flanagan and Maurice Hooker. Fury has been working hard in the recent weeks to shed weight ahead of his proposed return, despite announcing his retirement in 2017. The former heavyweight champion had his license suspended by the Boxing Board of Control last year after admitting using cocaine to help with depression. Fury posted, I've been very blessed in my life, career, achieved the utmost in boxing, was an epic journey along the way. He added, thanks to all the fans that supported and believed in me along the way. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. The end. Before having his license suspended, Fury pulled out of a scheduled rematch with Klitschko after spraining his ankle. The win over the Ukraine gave Fury both the WBO and the WBC heavyweight belts, whilst improving his professional record to 25-0. The Gypsy King has gone back on his decision in the last few weeks, citing his desire to beat Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder as a reason. This news means a possible clash between Joshua and Wilder might be put on hold to see if Fury can refine his form that made him a world champion. Now, so that means that now that we have a date for Tyson Fury coming back in June 9th, now we can start seeing how he's going to come into play in this heavyweight picture. And so the fear of Anthony Joshua losing, in my opinion, is going to be all the more real. Because if Tyson Fury comes anywhere close, not anywhere close, if Tyson Fury can regain his form that he had 3 years ago, then and Anthony Joshua fights him, then he's going to lose. Unless he's able to land something real clean on Tyson Fury and knock him out, I think Tyson Fury is a far superior boxer to Anthony Joshua, and that's just not a good match for him against a guy that's that much bigger, that much longer, somebody that moves that much better and is extremely awkward, extremely accomplished. So, we'll see if that's fight made. Of course, there's the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder fight where Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, despite what he said in this article, it seems as if what he said, him of being afraid to lose, maybe that's the reason why he's might be hesitant in his desire to be in the sport for a decade, his understanding that if he loses, it's a major step back. Maybe that's his hesitancy to make the fight immediately with Deontay Wilder. Now, as far as being afraid, like I said, that's reasonable. If being afraid to lose is not something that is unheard of. I've heard that many people have said that about when, and actually you experience it in your own life. You might, but it is when you start becoming afraid to lose that you hold things, but you hold back. That if you take one loss, that people might no longer consider you to be a great fighter. They might no longer be interested in you. That you might lose your desire to take risks. But see, when he uses the Roger Federer analogy, that's not true. Roger Federer is perfectly well known who Roger Federer has lost to. Roger Federer has lost back-to-back times to Rafael Nadal. He lost to Andy Murray. He lost to Juan Del Potro. I think it's Juan Carlos Del Potro. No, tennis fans know the people exactly who has beaten Roger Federer in the past. And it was the fact that Roger Federer got down and out but never quit. People had written off Roger Federer. I didn't write him off, but people were like, he's never going to win another major again. But what he had to do is he had to suck it up and he had to change his playing style. After he started dealing with, he had to figure out how to play Rafael Nadal. He had to figure out how he could play a heavily defensive player in Rafael Nadal. He had to start saying, you know what? I can't let these points go on this fast. I cannot beat Rafael Nadal if I keep waiting around to end this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lose for a while, practicing playing in a way where I can speed the points up. Because if I keep playing Rafael Nadal like that, Rafael Nadal is going to get every ball back. He's a defensive specialist. Andy Murray is one of the best return to serve and defensive tennis players in the world. He's going to have problems with those guys. Djokovic, that's the other one. Djokovic, a great defensive tennis player. And that's because he could get to every ball. And what Roger Federer had to do, Roger Federer had to change his game. He had to figure out, what I can do is I got to end the points fast. I just can't keep working the point. I got to end the point. And he adjusted the way that he played. And he gained more respect after coming off that loss than he had before the losses. Before, when it was easy for him and he was beating everybody, nobody could touch him, right? He came up, beat Sampras. He beat Sampras. He beat that last generation of guys before him, which were the Andre Agassi and the Pete Sampras. And then he starts playing, and he has his own era where nobody's touching him, right? And then come these young dudes, and Nadal and Djokovic and Andy Murray, who been watching him play, and their coaches said, you know what, you got to be really, Roger Federer's not going to miss a ball. Let's design our game around beating Roger Federer. So they came with very, very heavy topspin that jumps up above his shoulder. He's got a one-handed backhand. So when Nadal was jacking them left-handed heavy topspin forehands to Roger Federer's one-handed backhand, all of a sudden Roger Federer is having to, hit the ball way up above his shoulder. And he couldn't beat him. But what he did was, he had to adjust his game, and he found a way to adjust his game. So now he's taking the ball on the rise. He's not letting the ball be 15, 20 ball rallies. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 out. 1, 2, 3, 4 out. He's not going to give Nadal and those guys a chance to break him down, to break him down over the long period of a fight of the match. And he made adjustments. But in order to make those adjustments, he had to go through the process of losing. Now, what I see with Anthony Joshua is, yes, Anthony Joshua has two guys that are out there that have had their eyes on him, that he's supposed to be the man in boxing in the heavyweight division. And he has two dudes who are older than him, but two dudes that are saying, look, I know how to beat him. And it might wind up, if he gets in the ring with them, that they might know how to beat him. But he could follow the Roger Federer path and come back from that. Make an adjustment. Well, what do I do now against these tall guys that are both taller than me? And I'm not saying it's going to play out that way, but I'm saying, man, Anthony Joshua, take the fight. And if he beats you, then go back and make an adjustment. You're fighting two guys that are taller than you, two guys that are longer than you. Tyson Fury's 6'9". Deontay Wilder's 6'7". You're what? 6 foot? What's Joshua? 6'5", 6'6", something like that. So, but he's got to fight and go through that. Hiding from it isn't going to help him. Hiding from it is not going to help him. It's going to have everybody questioning him and asking the question about whether or not he's a real champion at all, which is what's been going on. So there was a good channel that made a statement about people thinking that it was foolish that Anthony Joshua, to say that Anthony Joshua was afraid of Deontay Wilder and afraid of, they was afraid of Deontay Wilder. They said he got in the ring with Klitschko, and Klitschko, how could he possibly be afraid of Klitschko, not be afraid of Klitschko, but be afraid of Deontay Wilder, and how that was just a ridiculous idea. But there you go. Here it is, right out of the mouth of Anthony Joshua, what he's afraid of. He's afraid of losing. And he couldn't be afraid of, maybe he was afraid of losing to Vladimir Klitschko, but he had to fight Vladimir Klitschko. Otherwise, he wouldn't be where he is now. He had to fight somebody to get those belts. He was trying to gain something. He wasn't afraid of losing what he has. And right now, here you have the admission that he's afraid of losing what he has. And Deontay Wilder is more than capable of taking what Anthony Joshua has. But my advice for Anthony Joshua would be, do what Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali lost. He was a boxer. He lost his O to Joe Frazier. And did people write him off? Some people did. Some people were more than happy. A whole lot of people were more than happy to see him lose. And that's what happened when he fought. Then he fought Norton. He lost to Ken Norton. He took two tough fights. He lost to Joe Frazier, and he lost to Ken Norton. Was his career over? He gets in the ring with George Foreman, somebody nobody gave him a chance to win after everybody had written him off. Everybody was convinced that, he lost to George Foreman. He lost to Joe Louis. He got doggone. He lost to Joe Frazier. He lost to Ken Norton. George Foreman demolished Ken Norton. He demolished Joe Frazier. And he demolished Joe Frazier twice. Two guys that beat Muhammad Ali and gave Muhammad Ali all kinds of problems. They wrote him off. What happens? Muhammad Ali has another victory that is as big as any victory in the history of boxing. And he did it twice. He did it once against Sonny Liston when nobody thought he had a chance. He did it again with George Foreman when nobody thought he had a chance. He overcame and what is he considered now? Do you think he got another shot? Ali clearly got another shot. And I do acknowledge that Anthony Joshua was saying in the sentence that, it shouldn't define you, but we're in a sport that if I ever lose, it's going to be over for me. Why? Because you are listening a little too carefully to Floyd Mayweather Jr. Because Floyd Mayweather Jr. and now about these days, people put so much of a emphasis on being undefeated that they don't understand that taking an L is part of life. All of the great champions, with the exception of 3, have taken L's. Joe Calzaghe didn't take an L, and I don't consider him necessarily to be an all-time great fighter, but he's a hell of a 168-pounder. Rocky Marciano and Floyd Mayweather Jr. But then all of the other ones took losses, and they were able to come back from those losses. So, man up, dude, who fights these dudes, man. And with that, I'm out. Peace.